First of all, let me give honor to God for being here and being able to speak to you today. I want to first of all acknowledge Ms. Thomasina Borderly and her committee for all of the hard work that they've done to make this rally a success and to bring attention to this most important time that we're facing here at Bowie State University, I would say, let alone in the world. I want to also acknowledge, before I begin, the other student leaders that are here. We have our student government president, Mrs. Jermaine Goldman. We have the senior class president, Mr. Leslie Hall. And we want to make sure all the student leaders are here and well represented. So I wanted to make sure that we did that. Also, I see in the back, very quickly, my good friend and certainly my mentor, the Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. Artie Travis, who his hard and diligent work, of course, is paramount to the success of programs like this. But I don't really know who suggested that I speak today, and I really don't know who asked me to speak for just 5 or 10 minutes. But I'm going to certainly try to keep within that time frame and certainly give a little bit of food for thought as we acknowledge Peace Week here at Bowie State University. But first of all, let me just say that peace is something that we not only want to see in the world. As many of you know, here in academia, as we matriculate here at Bowie State University, we know that there are things that are going on throughout the world. We have armed conflicts and things that are happening throughout the world. We know that in Sudan, as we speak, there's armed conflict. We know that the militarized zone in Korea that the president just visited on yesterday is one of the most fortified military zones in the world. We also know that here nationally we had tragedy happen down in Florida, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but we know that the untimely death of Trayvon Martin is something that we as people, anybody that is human, should have in their heart, something that we should want to see stop. But we should also know that peace is something that we need here locally. We need peace on campus. We know the tragedy that happened on campus. I won't go into that anymore, but certainly we need peace on campus. But even more importantly, you need inner peace. Before you can be peaceful to anyone else, you have to have inner peace. You have to have a calm, a serenity within yourself. So we need inner peace. But I want to just say a couple things before I go back to my seat. For those of us who are believers, we look to our religious belief systems for guidance on peace. In Islam, you're greeted with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum. And that's a shortened term that, in its shortened form, that means peace be with you. In the Judeo experience, you're sometimes greeted with the term shalom. Shalom is a term that means peace. And in my own Christian experience, my Southern Christian experience, I remember going to church with my great-grandmother, and on Sundays we would hear worshipers say, "May peace be multiplied." But we look not just to our religious belief systems, we look to historical figures, and they are replete with figures that stood for peace. We know one of them, he was the Prince of Peace. A person that my great-grandmother referred to as the lily of the valley. Some of you know him as Jesus Christ, who in Matthew 5 and 9 said, "God bless those who work for peace, for they will be the children of God." But let's just talk about peace. I think about the early 20th century when a small man in stature but enormous in conviction by the name of Mahatma Gandhi took a peaceful, nonviolent movement never seen before to heights that led his nation not only to its independence, but it also started the inevitable destruction of a nation whose provinces stretched so wide across the earth that they said the sun never set on the British Empire. But maybe somebody missed that. I'm going to take 2 steps back because, we are in academia. I know y'all study history and all that good stuff, but I want y'all to study that man of peace, Gandhi. But what about a man in the latter half of the 20th century who led a movement, who yesterday a minister said that he led the 3rd revolution here in the United States. We know that the first revolution in the United States was in what? 1776, when this fledgling nation of ours decided that we wanted to rid ourselves of the British Empire and we wanted to be a free nation. The second revolution in this country started in was ended in 1865 when a vacillating president by the name of Abraham Lincoln decided that by any means necessary he was going to make sure that the Union was resolved. The 3rd revolution in this country was in 1958 when a minister by the name of Dr. Martin Luther King, on the help that he provided, a seamstress who took a seat for freedom, a seat for peace, and decided that she wasn't going to give up her seat because she was tired and she didn't want to move to the back of the bus. But he led a bus boycott that revolutionized and brought the real true meaning of peaceful nonviolence to this country. Well, now that I've gotten just the introduction of my little speech out of the way, I want to just close with one thing. I said earlier that I wanted to talk quickly about the whole situation with Trayvon Martin. Those of you who don't know, those of you who do know, that Trayvon was a 17-year-old student down in Florida walking innocently through a community with Skittles and an iced tea in his hand. It was tragically struck down by a bullet. And you know that there have been protests and calls for justice and peace throughout the nation. And on yesterday, Sunday was called Hood Sunday. For some of you, you participated, you went to church in your communities, you wore hoods, and you wanted to participate in that opportunity. But I challenge each and every one of you that's sitting in this room to understand that you know that as students here at Bowie State University, you are here to earn a hood. You're here to earn a hood representing your academic discipline. So what I challenge each and every one of you to do is to use the hood that represents your academic discipline and challenge each and every one of you to use the meaning of those hoods so that we can prevent a tragedy that happened to Trayvon Martin. Let's wear the hood of science gold to demonstrate excellence that is required to master the discipline of mathematics. Let's wear the hood of peacock blue to demonstrate civility in our desire to master public administration and contribute to the establishment of a government for all. Let's wear the scarlet hood of integrity that seeks to add theological underpinnings to the guide of our moral compass. Let's wear the pink hood of diversity that the arts and science and music has always lent to the universal language of tolerance. But not only that, let's wear the purple hood of accountability, such that we produce those who know the law seek justice and make sure that that tragedy that happened in Florida never happens again. Because it's the hoods that you earn here at Bowie State University. It's the hoods of academia that would allow you to go out in the community and make sure that that tragedy that happened in Trayvon does not happen again. To make sure that you represent those things that you're supposed to be trained here at Bowie State University for. So my challenge to each and every one of you sitting in this room and those that aren't in this room is to wear your hood. But don't just let it be a hood from Star. Don't just let it be a hood from Nike. Don't just let it be a hood from Under Armour. Wear your academic hood and make sure that when you wear that hood, wear it well, wear it proud. Earn your degree so you can go in the community and prevent any tragedy that ever happens to another 17-year-old Trayvon Martin from happening again. Peace be unto each and every one of you. Thank you very much.
And your timing was perfect. Thank you, AVP Swain. We're going to have Jamin going on next before he has to go to class. But a few more thank yous. I have to thank my cheerleaders. I can't miss thanking them for coming out and supporting this week. Sorry, guys. You know I give you love. And also, my soror was back there. Don't send me that soror. They covered it, of course. I was in the house. President of the Student Government Association, Jamin Goldman.
I just want to tell Mr. Swain that I got my academic hood on. So really quickly, I wanted to speak about unity. I want to speak about unity, and that's all, unity is power. Anytime that you want to come and achieve a common goal, you have to unite. Any one of us who's in an organization, on an athletic team, or anything in life, we have to unite. And whether that's protesting, rallying, or whether that's even coming to a common idea on what the action plan is going to be to achieve a common goal, we have to unite. And I think we're in the midst of a perfect time as we talk about Trayvon Martin, and as we watch the world, or the nation in particular, unite across just in support of him and his family, and of course in support of justice for Zimmerman, I think is the guy's name. So I just want to say united as we move forward throughout this week and throughout our lives. Make sure that we unite with common people, with common ideas, with common goals.